It was January 1939. She was 10 years old, and her name was Leisel. She and her mother had taken the train from Munich to Hamburg, where the U.S. ship, the SS Manhattan, would take Leisel to America. It was a rainy day when the chauffeur brought the car around with two German officials sitting in the back seat, who motioned Leisel to sit between them. Her mother was not allowed to go. There was no time to say goodbye, and Liesel's last sight was her mother standing alone in the parking lot, surrounded by the fading day's light and enveloped by the drizzling rain. It would be 11 months before they would be reunited again. Leisel was born in Munich in 1928 and lived with her parents and brother and sister in the house her grandfather owned. She spent a good bit of her early life in the garden, conversing with the animals, especially the birds and a turtle. It was a good life until all that ended. In the early years, Leisel walked to school with a few neighboring friends until the parents of these friends no longer allowed their daughter to walk with a Jew. And within a few months, the public schools forbade all Jewish children to attend. The Jewish children from all over the city now had to come to the synagogue with its makeshift rooms that somehow accommodate some desks and tables and chairs. It was also a time when the Nazis evicted Liesel's family from the home they had lived in for many years, and Liesel's family was separated from the grandparents, who had to find other accommodations. Leisel and her parents moved to a different part of the city, to an upstairs flat above businesses. From there, Leisel had to take the streetcar into the center of town, where the converted synagogue was. She did this for many months, until one day, as she got off the streetcar, she was stopped by the sight of a smoldering building, which was all that was left of the synagogue. When Leisel was about 7 years old, she suddenly was in a lot of pain, and her father, who was a physician, determined that it was appendicitis. It was also a time when many of the hospitals no longer admitted Jews. It was only because her father was known as a practicing physician that one of the hospitals finally allowed the surgery to be performed. Eventually, Jews were not allowed on certain streets anymore, and often were denied access to public transportation. And lots of stores refused to sell to Jews, and in order to get any rationed food, Liesel's mother sent her to pick up the one egg allowed to the family per week, knowing that it would be harder to deny the egg to a child than to an adult. Even though the door to Liesel's bedroom was closed, she was awakened by voices she did not recognize. The knock on the front door had come in the early morning hours. The voices were clipped and authoritative. There was the hushed response of Liesel's parents, and then the silence as the front door closed. Liesel's father was taken to Dachau. By now, I think you know that the Leisel who landed in New York in 1939 is standing in front of you. Her name will always be Leisel, deep down inside. But as a 10-year-old, she wanted so much to fit into the American way, and so she chose the name Beth. This is the third time during Yom Hashoah that I've been given the opportunity to share some early personal experiences with you. And while it's not easy to talk about these early years of my life, I feel that the words I speak and the words you hear have the power to let us look closely at what may be happening in our country that is similar to what happened in Germany in the 1940s. Let the legacy of word, of memory, help prevent history from repeating itself.